PLC, what about your friends? 10 minutes past the hour. The hour being the midday hour, because my guest is going to be like, why do radio presenters say that? 10 minutes past midday. This is 94.4 SpiceFM. My name is Yolanda Mulwa, and I have with me, I told you earlier that I'm so excited about today's show because we have Grace Gitau. I'll tell you who she is or her title, and then she'll explain what it means because it's quite a mouthful. Grace Gitau is a positive child and youth development specialist. Grace Gitau, karibu to SpiceFM.
Asante sana.
What does a positive child and youth development specialist mean? What do they do? Si tunajua procurement. Watoto wetu watafanya procurement.
Okay, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm super excited to be here this afternoon.
Yes.
And I will start off by explaining who is a child and who is a youth.
Yes.
So that basically the audience can understand
Yes.
what the title means.
Yes.
So a child, according to the Kenyan Constitution, is anyone who is aged 0 to 18 years.
Yes.
However, when it comes to the youth, we have various definitions. For instance, according to the Kenyan Constitution, a youth is anyone who is aged between 18 to 35.
Yes.
But when it comes to the UN, the United Nations,
Yes.
a youth is anyone who is aged between 10 to 24. So we have various definitions.
Wow.
And in this case, then I'll be talking about anyone who is aged between 0 to 24 so that I match the definition of a child
Yes.
and a youth.
Yes.
And when it comes now to positive child and youth development specialist, we look at various facets of development
Yes.
and how these come into play to bring up a holistic child and a holistic youth. So we'll be looking at the physical development, we'll be looking at the cognitive and social development, and we'll also be looking at emotional development. Yes.
Yes. So I understand you have an ebook that you've done. You're going to tell us about the book. And first, I'm going to even tell you how I know about Grace Gitau. Grace Gitau has been onboarded onto Standard Group PLC's e-commerce platform. We own shop.dega. You can go and check it out, shop.dega.co.ke. So she happens to be one of our suppliers. We sell her toys on our site. If you want anything that you're going to see on the show today, you can log on to shop.dega.co.ke. We don't have a www prefix at the beginning of our URL. Once you shop, Standard Courier will deliver any of these things to anywhere in this country. We leverage on the network we have because we have our cars that ferry our newspapers across this country. Think farthest corner. We call it last mile. Kila siku asubuhi 3 a.m. that gari goes. It's coming with these toys to bring them to your home. So anything Grace will touch on that you feel you need in your home, don't be afraid to log on and buy. Zitaachwa hapa ndio tukutumie kwa courier service. Grace, I want us to talk about the power of play. I love your word play here.
Yes.
Power of play, how toys shape early childhood development. A toy is not just a toy.
No, they're not just toys.
Yes.
And perhaps there is a difference between what we knew as toys as we were growing up.
We knew rattles.
Yeah. And even a doll that doubled up as a water bottle.
Please don't talk about my childhood. I feel attacked. I had one. Her name was Mamika.
I had one and the name was Topista.
Yeah.
And I can imagine then what toys were then and what toys are right now.
Yes.
And there is such a shift, a big shift. And basically, toys are not just a distraction because most parents, most caregivers would just go for toys to distract the children from screen time.
Yes.
Or maybe to keep them busy or maybe to lull them to sleep.
Yes.
But toys are not just a distraction. Toys are not just fun. They actually contribute to a holistic child and a holistic youth in terms of their development. And I think at some point we'll be looking at that intricately.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't even know where to start us off. When your child is, let's say, 0 to 3 months, what are we supposed to focus on when we are buying for them toys? I'm speaking to parents right now. 0 to 3 months, or I don't know how you put them in clusters. Is it 0 to 3 or 0 to 6?
0 to 12, because that
0
is
to
the
12.
infancy stage.
Yes. What are we supposed to look out for? I know choking hazards, so we don't need things that have movable and very small, intricate parts.
Yes.
But what more? Because I feel like you're our guide today. We're just in the dark. As we know, rattles, and that's juice bottle that you talk about that doubles up as your doll.
All right. Thank you for the question. So when a child is born, actually the brain of a child develops right from conception.
Yes.
So that doesn't mean that upon the child being born, that is when the child's brain starts developing.
Yes.
So whilst the child is in the womb, their brain is developing, but basically there are very few neural connections that are there at that particular time.
Yes.
And once now the child comes and we have celebrated a baby shower, the first thing that happens to this child, they start actually rapidly developing their sensory development skills.
Yes.
And basically we are looking at the 5 senses. So there is a sense of touch, there is a sense of smell, the sense of seeing,
Yes.
and the others feel,
and
also hearing.
Yes.
So the toys at this particular time will actually be looking at maximizing or optimizing the sensory development of this baby or this infant, so that they're able to see. Actually, you hear many people talking of mtoto ameanza kuniona.
Yes.
Because by the time they are born, their eyesight is also not very strong.
Yeah.
So the toys are very catchy, very bright colored,
Yes.
and also very contrasting colors.
Yes.
And also in terms of texture, you'll find like cloth books that will have maybe like glitter sound. Some are rough, rough surface.
Yes.
Some are very smooth, because you want them to develop these senses strongly. And also you have things like textured balls, which will come with different textures, so that they are able to develop these. However, also apart from sensory development, we also look at the fine motor skills development.
Yes.
And basically when you're looking at fine motor skills development, you're looking at the growth of this child, or strengthening their muscles from the wrist, moving towards the finger and the thumb. So anything that they're able to grasp, like the rattle.
Yes.
So the rattle, they're able to develop their sensory development by grasping.
Yes.
But also the sound, as they actually, shake, they're able to hear.
Yes.
But beyond that, beyond hearing, they are also able to develop a cause-effect relationship. Every time I shake this rattle, a sound is produced.
Yes.
And you see that is development by the end of the day. So the child actually is able to, fulfill that particular developmental goal. Apart from that, you had mentioned about the choking hazard. And with me here, I have something for demonstration. So basically, we have many rules that we go by when you're purchasing or when you're guiding a parent or a caregiver in terms of investing in toys. So the children, when they are very young, because they're also developing the senses, the first thing they do upon grabbing and upon...
everything goes into their mouth.
So this now goes as a very good guide.
Yeah.
So when you're purchasing toys, anything that would go be, inside this part of a tissue, that inside part,
the hollow part,
that actually could cause a choking hazard.
Wow, I love that.
Yes, so that should always determine what you buy, because there are chances where you get very appealing toys with the street vendors.
Yes.
And because they are also lowly priced,
yes,
you are always tempted to grab them and take them to your child, not knowing that actually you are purchasing a hazard with your hard-earned money to go take to your beloved child.
I love that you've said that, because I would be so shocked sometimes when I take my daughter for clinic, and I'd see someone has come with their daughter, they have full moshaino and beads and even in their hair. And I'm like, I know children will remove them, sometimes not necessarily put them in their mouth, even put them in their ears or in their noses. My sister put a minji once. My mom was like, sasa utakana hiyo minji mpaka iive, because she was used to it. So I love that. What are other dangers that we should also look out for? I think human beings respond to that. That maybe don't buy this for this age, maybe wait until they're older, maybe what else should, besides the choking hazard, are there any other hazards we should look out for when we're purchasing toys for our little ones?
Yes. For instance, when you're purchasing toys, especially for the infants, that is 0 to 12 months, you should always be very cautious when you're using the battery-operated toys. Because the battery-operated toys have the lithium. And chances of them getting them into the mouth is, very high.
Yes.
So unless it's supervised play, and supervised engagement with these toys, then you should ensure that actually they are not interacting with these toys. Then the other one is very strong lighting, like especially when it comes to gadgets, and especially prolonged screen time. I've had parents or caregivers reaching out, and they're like, my child is 3 years and actually only says Dada, and that is it.
That's
and
true.
Cannot say anything else. And basically you'd say that actually that is induced kind of autism, because they are not able to develop their social skills. The gadget actually gives them a passive entertainment, and they are not able to express their emotions, talk to other people, feel frustrated, take turns maybe when they are playing with the toys. So basically when it comes to toys, you also need to limit the screen time. And here we also have a rule. Whenever you engage your child for 1 hour of screen time, you should ensure that now you engage them for another 1 hour of play without screen.
I love that. So we're going to go into a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I want us to talk about the screens we're talking about versus the toys you have. I saw so many of your toys. I've actually seen a whole shop of your toys on our set at KTN.
Yes.
And many people would assume that your toys are for a certain demographic in our country. Maybe they're high, the high-end households. I want you to break it down for us and probably guide us and tell us if there's something for everyone, so that people don't have to be so quick to pick up the toys that you're talking about that pose risks, as opposed to coming to someone who this is what you do for a living, and you'll actually guide us. And you keep these toys, you can give them to cousins, nephews, if you're planning to have other children. So we'll come back with the screen time and the perils of the screen time and better guidance. I love it when we grow and learn together. Grace Gitao, a positive child and youth development specialist. I love you so much.
Thank you.
Stick around. She's here for the entire hour because we've brought in the experts so that we can learn and grow together. Grace Gitao, Madam CEO, Positive Child and Youth Development Specialist. And today we're talking about the power of play and how toys shape early childhood development. So we've talked about, I love that you brought up screen time. People don't even understand how devastating the effects are. And it's when my daughter was young, our children are the same age now that you and I have gotten to speaking.
Yes.
And her godmother, we call her godless mother because she's an atheist, and I wanted her to be my daughter's godmother. So she's British. So she would travel a lot to go and see her parents in England, and I would tell her, please bring my daughter, your godchild, a tablet. And she told me, never. I will buy everything in this world for your child. You know how much I love you. I'll never buy your child a screen on whatever shape and form. When they're ready to have a computer, we'll buy for them a computer or whatever. And I asked why, and she said it messes with how their brain will develop forever. Your child will start being impatient. Your child, instant gratification, because the touch of a button, something changes. Let them even learn to be creative. Sometimes my daughter would be like, I don't have something to do. I'm like, you figure it out in your room. And sometimes you feel like you want to give your children the things you didn't have, Grace. Please tell us these screens are bad. Tell us to stop buying them. It's okay to buy it, but it has to be very, very measured and controlled, like you had said it before. Please talk to us.
I actually like the points you have raised, and especially the immediate gratification, because that's exactly what it does. Another thing that actually the screens do is limiting the social skills development, because apart maybe from those who are a bit older who can now engage their peers in conversation or chatting, the child actually will always be glued to the screen, be it a TV set, be it maybe a laptop. They'll always be glued there. And even you realize there's so much happening in the environment. Even their cousins have visited, but they don't really care. They do not interact with them, even with the parents. Have you ever heard of parents even talking of whenever they take the remote from their child's hands, they throw tantrums? You know why? Because the gratification is so much, and they're feeling like, no, you're crushing their world. This is what they're used to. Every time they click on that remote, they get whatever it is they want to. But when now it comes to the real life experiences, when they get to school, they step out to church or other spaces, they'll actually need to use the social skills that they have developed. And this does not really encourage them to develop the social skills. The other thing is in terms of speech, cognitive development. You find that by the time you're engaging with the screen, majority of the time it's passive. The content has already been developed for you. You're only supposed to consume. But when it comes now to the toys, let me give an instance. Maybe you're working a puzzle or cartoon Jenga. Like what I have here. So you imagine this child has to put in logical reasoning. These cartoon Jenga blocks. Either do I put them in a pattern according to the color or according to the shapes? I need to toss my dice. How many times am I supposed to remove the blocks from this? So they have to reason. And if I remove this block because I've tossed these dice and I'm supposed to remove 6 blocks from the tower, if I remove the base one, most definitely the tower will tumble over. So can I remove the middle one or the top one so that at least I can remain, with the tower longer and become the winner? That kind of reasoning does not come with the screens.
That is
and like
true.
I had mentioned earlier, we recommend, and this is a rule world over, for every 1 hour that your child engages with a screen, you should give them 1 hour of open-ended, non-digital toys so that they are able to develop their skills.
Sometimes it's easier said than done, because maybe you're working from home, and then we actually saw COVID kind of throw our children to gadgets because we didn't have another way to, there was no method to the madness that we were all experiencing at the same time. And sometimes sometimes we travel and we are on the road for 5, 6, 7 hours.
Yes.
You don't have a choice.
You do have a choice.
You don't have a choice, Grace. But I know what you're saying, that we can try and trade it off.
Yes.
And say the screen is not entirely horrible. You can do X amount for this and X amount for that, because you also don't want your child to live in a little bubble where they don't understand about technology and whatnot. But I like your rule. You said 60 minutes for 60 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Can I contribute something to
Please.
that? Like when you're traveling, can I provide some suggestions?
Please.
You can carry coloring books.
Yes.
And you see, with this, they just need to have a coloring pencil somewhere and a coloring book somewhere, and they're able to work on that. There's also another technology of watercoloring, the aqua doodle. And this is a book that comes with a pen that you only need to refill with water. And then you color the book, and actually the colorings will appear, and then with time the water dries off and the coloring disappears. This will keep them glued on this particular booklet for hours,
And also games, because we normally play games like I Spy.
Yes.
So we used to play I Spy, so we'd look for a certain color and we'd look for purple. And then when we're driving through Kaliland, let me tell you, Rift Valley is purple. Half of it, all the things are purple. So I'm like, this I Spy is not working when we're passing Kericho.
Yeah.
But we'd also sing, and sometimes I'd just be like, sleep. I'm like, this one is overstimulated. We've done everything. They've eaten their snacks. Now they're just impatient. Sleep. Okay, now let's talk. I don't know if we've extended the 0 to 12 months so that we can check the next cluster.
Perhaps I can mention only one more thing under the 0 to 12.
Yes, please.
We also have the tummy time, because this particular time now we're also strengthening the muscles, especially the neck.
Yes.
Remember, many parents will be talking, my child is these months old and she cannot actually hold
the milestones.
Her neck. Yes. So with the tummy time, you'll have mainly the play mats, so that the child is able to lie on their tummy and they're able to lift their neck. Before now they get to the sitting, and now the milestones that come with the sitting, so that they're able to strengthen their neck muscles. So tummy time, and mainly play mats that are very playful and very attractive, so that they're able to engage as they're on their tummy, then that would work. Then the other thing would be now the play gyms, so that they're able to lie on their back and then they're able to do things now on the gym. Yes.
We actually think these things are luxuries, but they are not. I've looked at a lot of your toys and I'm like, you work backwards. Our children start learning math, division, multiplication from, like, I would read the back of most of your toys.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's the whole essence to this toy. Like we were that class that they're waiting for when they're 12.
Yes.
To add and carry and square root starts from as little as a 6-month-old toy.
Oh yes.
I love it. We move to our next cluster.
Yes, which is now the toddler.
The toddler.
Yes, so during this time now they have cousins, they have known how to identify their parents.
Yes.
So basically now we are looking at emotional skills development, social skills development, and also to a great extent now we have brought in now, apart from the fine motor skills, which we said is from the this is the ankle.
Yeah, the wrist.
The wrist, moving now towards the fingers. Now from there, we start now bringing in the aspects of gross motor skills development. And the gross motor skills development largely involves the larger limbs and the larger limbs and also the larger parts of the body. Yeah. So here now we'll have toys like the ride-on toys.
Yes.
We'll also have like the pull cars.
Yes.
Pull along cars.
Yes.
So they are walking now and they're able to pull along with this car.
Yeah.
Then we also now bring in the aspect of sorting. So you'll have things like shape sorters. And these shape sorters, you'll also realize they are very bright colored. So the aspect of color cognition, shape cognition, and also now moving, the physical development now comes in.
Yes.
So they're able to ride on their toy. Maybe they can be able to ride on their tricycle or any other toy actually that would encourage them to be outdoor.
Yeah.
These would come in very handy. And then the cognition now also goes beyond. At this particular time, you'll even hear them even saying, that is color blue.
Yes.
That is number 3. So also the numbers cognition, differentiation also comes in.
Yes.
But also you don't like go now deep now into the
And we
literacy.
bought for her a chart.
Or the numeracy. Yes.
Yeah, we're giving her a time.
Yes.
A chart.
Or a timetable, or maybe a multiplication table. No.
Yeah.
But they are able now to do simple numbers and simple letter cognition at this particular time.
I don't know if you can touch on this very slowly.
Yes.
Because I feel like you're onto something with the conversation. When do you then realize that there's a problem with my child? That we've not moved from the 0 to 12 month toys. They've not fully been enhanced, or they're not barely playing with them for them to graduate now to the next
level.
Yeah, level. How do you know? Like, what are some telltale signs?
Maybe signs you could look out for.
There's something that's not okay. Maybe this child is a late bloomer, but it's probably good if I went and sat with someone who can guide me appropriately.
Okay. So the key things that you should look out for. Number one, it's not healthy to compare your children, especially when it comes to milestones, because I see so many parents and caregivers reaching out and they are really worried that their children are not able to do what their cousins are doing, or what the children within their neighborhood or within the
and
spaces
moms
they are
like to
visiting.
shumekia each other.
Yes.
Ati ha, sisi tunasoma. And I'm like, why are you okay? Kushumekia in French is to show off for each other, to make you feel bad.
Yes.
Moms like to do that a lot.
Yes.
So you kind of feel like, oh my God, aki tuko nyuma, kababa hajui kufanya kitu. But when is there a reason for you to probably question your pediatrician or something?
I would say, especially like for neck muscles strengthening, if you have a child, let's say by between 3 to 6 months, if you hold them like in a burping position and the neck is not able to hold in a position, in the rightful position, upright position, then you should be worried. In terms of walking and crawling, that takes time. You can see
and playing with the toys, because my friend found out that their child had mild autism. Now they know, because they were not stimulated. They didn't care about a bus would be there, it in and out, and they just look at it, and they were just not connecting to stimulus, to things.
Some of them would be like, if let's say you hold out a rattle, and the child, like you produce, you shake the rattle, and the child does not like either turn or pay attention to whichever direction the sound is coming from.
You probably think there's something up with their hearing.
Yes. Now with time, and then the other thing would be, like for instance, let's say if you put them lying on their tummy with a play gym, and they are not like stretching, to hold on the hanging toys. They are just, like maybe just lying there. That would mean then there is a problem. But of course, this is not like a newborn. Of course, now the months, or rather the age has advanced a little bit. Then you would tell there is a problem. But you should not rule out there's a problem until you have seen a specialist. I had already earlier...
And also don't Google.
Yes, or ChatGPT.
Why not ChatGPT?
Because they will also give, many a times when you look up for something, they'll give actually the most advanced, like
you're always dying by the... In fact, you're dead.
Yes,
like, this is
and you're wondering how come, by the way, I'm able to read these,
That's very true. Let's be patient, you're saying, with our kids.
Yes. And the other thing is, like I had already given an example of a 3-year-old who was only mentioning the word dada.
Yes.
Of course, now when you look at 3-year-olds, majority of them, if they're already within the system, perhaps they'll be going for play group. They've already started Sunday school, then they're able to interact and speak and converse with their peers. So if you realize then there is very delayed milestones, like for speech, then you would be, tempted, or rather, you would actually need to go see a specialist so that they can take them through the test. There are also some hearing tests that are done in the hospitals.
Yes.
I know Gertrude's hospital does that. So you can visit and check out with a specialist, and they will let you know if indeed it is a delayed milestone, or perhaps maybe there are other factors, external factors that have contributed to the delay.
True.
Yeah.
I really like that. I don't know if we should end with the financial conversation, but many people assume the toys that you are speaking of that stimulate and enhance those cognitive skills that you're talking about, the fine pincer, fine motor skills, the larger ones, are sasa mtoto tutamlipa rent ama tutamnunulia toys? Grace, are we buying toys or are we paying rent in this harsh economy of ours?
Everything is important.
Are we going to break bank? Tunachukua loan ya toys ama are they affordable?
No, it's actually, they're very affordable. And when you look out at shopdigger.co.ke, you'll realize that we have toys for all, for people with different purchasing powers.
Yes.
Let me show you an example. Like for instance, these are building blocks.
Yes.
And these building blocks, I like them because they are very exciting.
Yes.
And like, let me show you. With these, you're able even to do very exciting things. Most of our toys are actually open-ended.
Yes.
You give them to a child, and the child is able to do many things with them. So let me show you. These are building blocks.
Yes.
And these building blocks retail at 600 Kenya shillings.
Please visit shop.digger.co.ke.
Yes. So
Standard Courier watakuletea.
let me see.
Uko Busia, where you live, in 48 hours.
Let me show you how this works.
Are those not spectacles?
Yes,
that
I'm actually coming up with glasses,
That
out
is so
of
nice.
these,
Please, if you're listening. And we have today a positive child and youth development specialist here to talk about the power of play and how toys shape early childhood development. And let's welcome Grace Gitao. Amazing stuff. Sometimes you think, I'll just give birth. See, they just need a rattle. And then they'll go to school after that. They play the rattle and then they go to school after that. It feels like it's so complicated, only I don't think it is. You're saying that you're breaking it down. Before you break it down and talk to us about the ebook, because you're saying sometimes you can't have these conversations with a conclusive ending because it's a continuous conversation,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Saying hi to Stephen. He's been on X. And we have people listening to us from all over the world. We have Blessed Mom, who's following us from Beirut in Lebanon, streaming on SpiceFM.co.ke. Thank you so much. I've even told them Karibu Sana.
Yes.
Hesbon Kisanya is here. Bishop Caligula as well. Let me just keep wacha niwasalimie ndio tusipote. Okay, there's more. Just 1 minute. Sorry
All right.
about that. As you're putting your things close to you.
Sure.
As you put your things close to you, let me say hi to this. Yeah, Liz Travis says, proud of you. Yeah, that's your friend?
My friend,
Yeah, she says she's very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes. Akmasham Isma.
That's my friend.
Proud
too.
of you. Keep
Thank
going.
you.
Your tribe showed up today.
Thank you.
Marilyn Ayub Kavai, huyo ni wetu tunamjua. A friend of the show.
Yeah.
But yes, your friends are proud of you. And anyone who's listening, sometimes you're lost. And we are all not going to have Grace Gitao visit you in your home.
Yeah.
But she knew that. She decided to mitigate by putting together an ebook. Tell us about the ebook and what we stand to learn from it.
Thank you. So, as mentioned, the book covers 8 chapters.
Yes.
And basically it comes to fill in the gap, because many a times whenever I engage with the clients, they want us to engage right from what we have, what developmental goals they are looking to achieve, and what comes in now to fulfill these goals until now the purchase and delivery.
Yes.
And with time I realized there is so much effort that has to go into that before you finalize with one client, you move to the next client.
That is true.
And I thought putting in a very simple, very short ebook would actually help me do this, because I not only deal with individuals, I also deal with
institutions.
Yes, I deal with children's homes, I deal with learning institutions, from all levels, kindergarten, the ones who are doing Montessori, all the way.
Yeah.
And I thought this then would be the best way to be able to
everywhere
fill
at
in,
once.
to be everywhere at once, and to be able to fill in the gap.
Yeah.
And the book is called The Power of Play.
Yes.
How Toys Shape Early Childhood Development. And basically,
yes.
I would actually want to say at this juncture that our toys don't just cover up to 18 years or 24 years that I had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Our toys range from 0 to 99 years.
Wow.
And I believe that is way beyond the life expectancy of any Kenyan at the moment, or all the other people in the world.
So Jeff and I, my producer, Jeff and I should be smiling because we should buy ourselves toys.
Yes, you're well taken care of. You're well taken care of.
I love it. Tell us about the adult toys, because every time someone hears the word adult toys, we're like, this is too early in the day to be having this discussion. What kind are you talking about?
So basically, as a person now grows up now, we left at the toddler stage.
Yes.
So now we come now to the preschooler.
Yes.
And this is largely the 3 to 6 year olds.
Yes.
If you look at, let's say, the CBC curriculum, the official age of starting school is 4 years.
Yes.
However, there are those who will join in a little bit earlier. And during this period of 3 to 6 years, you're basically now introducing the basic literacy and numeracy.
Yes.
So here now you bring in the concept of sounds, the letters, the numbers,
Yes.
and also the other concepts like addition, subtraction, and after that now from 6 years, the
Yes.
child now has known their 26 sounds.
Yes.
Their vowels, their consonants, and after that they also know the numbers.
Yes.
So beyond that now, you bring in the aspect called, there are people who call them various names.
Yes.
But the specific or the world known over name is STEM. The STEM
Yes.
is the science.
We've been seeing it a lot.
Yes,
STEM.
technology, engineering, mathematics. However, there are some schools of thought that have brought in arts, both the performing and the visual arts.
Yes.
And there are those also who've brought in robotics, although robotics is taken care of under the engineering, the E in the STEM. So from now, the 6 years and above, the STEM now comes into play now for all these other ages. And apart from that also, there is something we call life skills. And life skills, you develop the life skills throughout, your time on earth, the social skills, the empathy, self-esteem, and the toys actually come now to build these, the social skills and also the other life skills.
Yeah.
According to World Health Organization, we actually have the basic 10 life skills.
Yes.
Let me give one and
Yes,
an
please.
example.
Yes, please.
So we have like the cartoon Jenga, or games that you can engage the entire family
Yes.
and people take turns.
Yes.
So for instance, the cartoon Jenga in particular, it's actually a toy that enables you to build a tower with the Jenga blocks.
Yes.
And then you will toss a dice. And then depending on whichever side it lands, you have to remove that same number of blocks and the color from your tower.
Yeah.
And the person actually who has the tower last standing is a winner. So you can imagine, even if I am 70 years old and I'm playing cartoon Jenga with maybe my granddaughter, and the tower remains, standing whilst I'm the one, it remains, I'm the one who has the tower standing. It builds self-esteem.
I'm actually going to reach for it.
Yes, you are a winner, Yes, you can show them. And then we have other games.
Yes.
And, both card games, both board games like the Monopoly. Let me give an
Scrabble.
example. Yes, Scrabble, Monopoly, maybe ultimate banking. You also need to gain financial skills.
Yeah.
And you don't say that you're now, way too old not to gain financial skills. Because like for electronic banking and ultimate banking, it actually gives you hands-on skills that you can use when it comes to financial management.
Yes.
Just to give, very few examples of what you can do beyond the 6 years that we are talking about now, developing the basic numeracy and literacy skills.
I mean, I've seen you. I'm even thinking about game night in my house.
Yes.
I'm thinking about board games.
Yes.
We'll just continue. I'm happy
There's
about
also
what
another
you're saying.
game called Gonga. Gonga is actually...
Kuna gonga na jenga.
Yes, Gonga is actually
Yeah.
the same concept as Jenga,
Yeah.
but now it's big. It's actually made of logs.
Wow.
So you can play, even a whole team building in an organization or in your small SME as you take your members for team building. And still that is, like a toy by the end of the day, and helps your team develop cohesion and the team building spirit by the end of the day.
Even good communication skills.
Oh, yes. And social skills, even taking turns. There are people who are very, they don't really embrace patience.
Yeah.
But imagine when you're playing Jenga and you're playing 4 of you have to wait for 3 turns before you can get your turn.
That's a
and you should
long
not
time.
actually even shout and give them instructions. You should be waiting patiently for them to put in logical reasoning and determine, I have tossed two times, 2 pink blocks. Where do I remove them from? Imagine you have to wait until it's your turn.
I love what you're saying. And I don't think anyone gets old enough to be able to play any games.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you have toys for every age until 99 years old.
Yes.
For as long as you can move.
Yes.
You can play.
You'll find and you can think, because also there's also a bit of spatial reasoning, like especially when you're dealing with interlocking blocks, like maybe you're building gears. You have to make sure that this part goes to the right place so that the gears can work and such like.
What's your favorite toy? Out of all the toys you stock in your store, what's your favorite toy?
My favorite toy is our 50 centimeter African doll. That doll, whenever I look at it, I see the African child. And you see, for me, my business actually aim is to transform education in Africa according to Agenda 2040, which is Aspiration 6.
Yes.
And because now this actually in many ways and in many words, it summarizes what I do. This is the African child that I'm working so hard through my business to transform their life.
I love that. So that doll embodies your mission and your vision.
Yes.
I love it.
It's actually dark. It has kinky hair.
I love
it. It is wearing an Ankara dress.
That was my plan.
Yes.
That was my plan for my daughter until her uncle Eddie bought for her a Barbie doll. I've never been so mad. My daughter had never seen a white doll. She had got a cute little doll. There's a company here that does, with the kinky hair, because my daughter is darker skin.
Yes.
And she just saw this muzungu with freckles and blonde hair, and this other, she used to call the doll Gaigaiga. We don't know why. She had the baby's name is Gaigaiga, but she used to call the doll Gaigaiga. Gaigaiga was thrown away after being stuck in the hair and everywhere, Uji. But she was just, I don't know why I love the fact that you have, do you stock books as well?
Yes, I do.
I hope you stock books from African writers.
Yes, I actually currently only do African books, both Swahili and English, because I've realized, and even interacting with parents, majority of the children are really struggling, especially in terms of the Swahili.
Yes.
As a language or as a learning area. So I have, an English version and a Swahili version of the same storybook, so they are able to relate.
Also, they can read Cinderella and Snow White in Kiswahili.
The ones that I have 3 characters.
Wow.
Zuri.
Yeah.
There's Toto.
I love that.
I can't remember the third character.
But I love our stories.
Yes.
I love our stories. I think, so we have a minute. Take us home. Tell us about your handles. How can we reach you? Grace Getao. We want to follow you on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. So on Facebook, you can check Grace Park Ventures, Toys Planet.
Yeah.
On Instagram and TikTok, you can find us as the Toy Doctor 1.
Toy Doctor.
Yes.
I love that one.
Yes. And then on LinkedIn, we are also Grace Park Ventures, Toys Planet.
Thank you so much. You can buy all her toys on shop.dega.co.ke. You're such a wonderful guest.
Thank you.
I've learned so much and can't wait to have you again. We'll see. World Child Day. Kuna kwanga na World Child Day?
There's a Day of the African Child.
The Day of the African Child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And World Literacy Day.
Ndiule, Jeff. That is the head honcho who will make that decision.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And stand by for the news in 2 seconds. Here he is. Oh my God, walk to your chair.